Alright, welcome back. I don't know what I'm going to call this series yet, because I can't call it Games Post-Mortem. So... I have no idea. I'll come up with a title eventually. But I'll think about that as we play. Maybe like DevPlays, since I'm playing my own game? I have no idea. So anyway, last episode we got the water weapon, so let's go to the fire level. I try to give each planet their kind of own personality. First time trying to do actual world building. Hopefully something I get better and better at. But kind of want to make it feel like it was an actual, you know, galaxy where there's all different types of planets. And, you know, it's the trope where everyone kind of... It's a planet of... You know, this one's only fire. This one's only ice. This one's, you know... But it makes for interesting levels, because then if I made it all like, you know, an Earth-like biome to each planet, then it'd be boring. Or at least to me it'd be boring, I don't know. So one thing you saw... Right here, actually. I also tried to give some of the weapons a reactive element to the world. So, like, the bubble would fight off, like, the lava fireballs that pop out. I do it again later. The only thing I wish I had done was done that more, actually. Because it's really only used in 2 levels. And I wish I'd come up with some more, varied I should look at the screen. Some more varied ways of using weapons throughout the game. But I've often thought about doing, if I ever did a sequel to this, I do have some ideas of what I'd like to do. And I don't know, I haven't decided if I would do a sequel to this yet. But if I ever do, I do have those ideas kind of in the back of my brain. So, as would be expected, fire is weak against water. So the bubbles will actually just eat right through him. There we go. I don't know what killed me there. I'm going to make that a notes for my update as well. I wonder if it'll still load since it's loading the static transition. We will see. And I'll speed this up definitely in editing. Alright, that's 2 levels down now. So if we're going to take the fire weapon, the next place to be is the ice world. And I also want to, I meant to say this in the first episode, but I want to give a big shout out to my friend Brian Connolly. Him and his friend Linus Abrahamson, who have a band called Spectre, who just so happened to be doing a kind of 80s sci-fi soundtrack around the same time I was working on this, lent me some of the tracks. So this is the first time that I've ever kind of collaborated with anyone. Brian was an old friend of mine. We actually hadn't talked in a couple years before this. We used to do a lot of music projects together. And he lent me some of his tracks. Some of them I kind of edited in order for them to be loopable. To where, you know, it kind of made sense to where it would loop around if you... Let's say the track wasn't as long as the level, then it could come back around. Oh! And then the multiplier, which adds... That's a separate shot. We'll talk about that in a second. So he definitely let me. He did about half the soundtrack. I did the other half. So he helped me out a lot and made my workload a good bit easier. This is the only other level where you actually have weapons that react with some of the level elements. Otherwise, you have to kind of dodge those. If you went to this level after or before the fire level, you would have to kind of dodge those falling ice stalactites. The background for this one, which has that kind of snow building up over the level, is another. That's one of the elements I wanted to add from this one that isn't in anything else, where the background changes as much as it does. That was actually inspired by. There's a couple levels actually in Donkey Kong Country. I think in all three of them they have a level. Well, no, 2 doesn't have any snow levels. But 1 and 3 definitely they have these levels where as you play the course, it gets darker, there's more snow, and it gets a little harder to see, and I kind of wanted to incorporate something like that since I had an ice planet. I thought that'd be kind of interesting where the level changes as you play. Ooh. Okay, yay. And it was in the first demo. It was not as dark, and that kind of became hard to see with all the snow. So I had to end up making it a little bit darker so you could see everything. It was really hard to see his bullets. Ooh. He's almost dead. I have bombs. I didn't even know I had bombs. And that's one more down. And I actually think I have enough time for... I could probably go through one more. And then we'll do the next episode. But I'm very, very proud of how this one came out. And I don't know if I'm going to top it yet. My goal is always to top every previous project and just build and build and build. Because I would love to do this for a living. Let's see if I got ice. Ice was strong against... I don't remember if it was stone or if it was wind. We'll go to wind.
A gas giant in the Obatala system. This planet may have a remarkable view of planets, but it is completely uninhabitable outside of the ship. My old partner,
I also tried to give some backstory and personalities to each of the pilots of each ship, of each of these the big bads that you're fighting at the end of each level, which kind of adds into the world building I was talking about earlier. And that was interesting to do because I never really had to do that before. Well, I did it a little bit in film school, but not to the extent that I had to do on this guy. So this is one of the, not necessarily the harder, well, it's a little hard. Everyone moves, a lot of the enemies in this one move faster. So usually this one's not recommended until you get some of the more faster weapons and ones that have more of a spread to them. Like this one, once you get to level 2, it has a spread. And if you get the multipliers on top of this guy, this one kind of takes up the whole screen. But the drop rate percentage on the multipliers is not that high, because if they were, they would break the game, because you can just sit in one spot and just hold the fire button and it would just kind of eat through everybody. Now you could still do that, but there are some enemies that are harder to dodge than that do kind of sneak in to where you couldn't do that, but not very many. And that's something that I'd fix probably if I end up working on a sequel. Like I said, I do have some ideas floating around if I ever do a follow-up to this guy. A couple different movement type additions I would like to do. Some things I would do a little bit differently. This Yeah, this is the dodging one. He is not weak to ice, but we can get through this. I guess this one has a background that's reactive, where it feels like you're floating up from one set of gaseous clouds to another. There we go. And that's going to be it for this episode. I guess in the next episode, what we'll do is, let's see, wind, water, heart, wind. The ice was we'll go to the Kelos lab. Not necessarily a planet, but a space station. So we'll take a look at that guy on the next episode. All right, thank you for watching.